Welcome back to the We Cultivate Wealth podcast, and I am Sequita Collins. Today I'm going to share with you just some revelations on my journey of cultivating wealth for myself and for my family. And once you make a decision and there's no turning back, which means I have cut off every other choice that I have, that means to go back to who I was, or even to go back into the mindset or the environment that I was prior to making this decision to cultivate wealth. What I'm realizing is I am in my Father's house now. And I want to share with you, I recently moved back to my Father's house. I had been running for years, roaming aimlessly, chasing jobs and experiences, still coming up short with a definite deficit of connection and empty and feeling unfulfilled. I was repeating the same lessons over and over again. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of the constant mistakes. I'm tired of repeating the same lessons over and over and over again. Then my father said, "You can come back home." Coming back home, I honestly don't know what to make of it. I knew there would be changes, there would be challenges, but I wasn't prepared for who I would become in this process. I almost do not recognize who I am becoming while in my Father's house. I thought I would be upset about these new rules and guardrails that feel very foreign to me, because I was fiercely holding on to the independence and control over my life I had built as long as I can remember. Initially, I felt as if I was being held down, restricted, constrained before I made my own decisions. I made my own decisions on where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, where I wanted to live. And yes, I took those privileges for granted, not once asking my father if this is what he wanted. I would just get up and go. No consulting, no asking. All the time I would go from place to place, which I thought was freedom, but was me being a slave to my past. It had become a beacon of constraint, confining, and emptiness. Before moving home with my father, I had trouble calling on him to chat. Our conversation seemed forced, like running through the agenda of a meeting, and me running to gain safety and security. I was running to something that was already in me. But I don't go to my father and ask him. I was having a hard time talking to him about all of this. During this unprecedented time, I moved back home with my father, and it was not truly what I thought it would be, or how I would be. I arrived reluctant, with a small suitcase, plotting on where I was going next. I cannot remember living with my father, just the two of us, at his house. I was not a guest, but I didn't feel like a resident, just me and him. Who was I? This time I unpacked and I made room for myself to stay a while. I couldn't understand why, but I obliged, and within a few weeks of our new arrangement, friends and family began to see I sounded happier now that we were together, and it was true. I began to let down my guard. I began to read his word. I began to understand him, his ways, and realize he loves me. He chastises me. He has always wanted the best for me. And want doesn't even seem like the right word. He has predestined me to live out his will for my life in my Father's house.